Well, June has arrived, and with it, another E3. Just kidding, that doesn't exist anymore. Really wish it did, though. But we still typically do get a ton of exciting video game news. Heck, Sony actually just had their State of Play recently, and there was a few things to be excited about. For one, Astrobot is a brand new 3D platformer starring Astro, who was the little robot guy from the PlayStation 5's tech demo, Astro's Playroom. I actually really loved that one. I think that was so much fun, and I loved it so much, I got the Platinum Trophy on it. But anyway, I can't wait to see what Astro has up his sleeve, and I can't wait to surf on a PlayStation 5 controller. Looks great. Another thing I was excited about, surprisingly, was Infinity Nikki. Now, I know for sure that I am not the target audience for this game, but it looks like a beautifully rendered, cozy, open-world adventure where different outfits and dresses will give your character new abilities. So I guess it's kind of along the lines of Super Mario Odyssey or Princess Peach Showtime in that way, but hey, I don't know, it looks good to me. But we're not here to talk about Sony's State of Play or Xbox's game showcase, because frankly, they cannot hold a candle to the hype and the excitement and the wonder that comes along with a good old-fashioned Nintendo Direct. Now this one is certain to be a bit different. We're in this weird limbo right now where we're very clearly at the end of the Switch's life cycle, and the Switch 2 has actually been announced by Nintendo's president, but he made sure to not get our hopes up and made it very clear that this Direct is going to focus only on Nintendo Switch titles. Instead, we'll be getting an official reveal probably later on this year. So I just wanted to have a bit of fun here and speculate a little bit about what we might see in what is very likely to be the Nintendo Switch's swan song and final Nintendo Direct. Of course, you would expect Nintendo to reserve anything from a flagship series like Mario or Zelda for the Switch's successor in 2025. Instead, I think that what is going to be revealed here will be primarily composed of remakes, remasters, ports, and just little filler titles to get us through the holiday season, have a couple little stocking stuffers, and get us through those first few months of 2025. So let's start with one that I am pretty certain that we're going to see this year, a brand new Mario Party game. Remember the good old days where we essentially got a new Mario Party like every year before the holidays? Of course, that was also right before the series fell off a cliff, sadly, so it just goes to show, can't take things for granted. I will say they have done some really nice things with both Switch entries, so at least we're on the up and up. Mario Party is like the perfect holiday game. It's great to play, especially when families and friends are gathering, and it's a Mario spin-off game, so it makes a lot of sense as a great filler title. It's also one of my favorite series of all time, so I know I'm biased, but that's another story. I think the bigger question is whether or not this game will be more like Super Mario Party 2, which I'd be okay with, or a Mario Party Superstars 2, which I'd also be really okay with. If we're going the Super Mario Party 2 route, I'd love to have some new characters with even more unique dice blocks. I think that was a really neat feature, even if Goomba and Monty Mole's dice blocks absolutely sucked. One thing's for certain, with either direction they go with this, is that the game needs more boards. Super Mario Party has 4, which is genuinely pitiful. Easily the biggest strike on the game. Mario Party Superstars did better with 5, and all of which were actually bangers too, but it's still a hard pill to swallow to have so few when the earlier titles had like 6 to 7 to choose from. I'd say it's especially easy to add boards in Mario Party Superstars since, you know, they're already done from previous games. I'd also love to see more varied items in the next one. In the earlier Mario Party games, and Mario Party 3 in particular, they had so many amazing items to buy, and in the newer ones, it's pretty limited. So I'd love to see us have even more access to new items too. Anyway, I think a new Mario Party game is an absolute lock for a November release this year. As far as remakes go, I think one of the first ones that we can see here is one that a lot of fans have been clamoring for, and that is Xenoblade Chronicles X. If you look at the Wii U library, there's not many flagship games that are exclusive to the console anymore, but more on that later. This is one that has been stranded on the Wii U since its launch. The Xenoblade Chronicles series grew immensely on the Switch. You have the full series accessible here. The original Xenoblade Chronicles got a definitive remaster, Xenoblade Chronicles 2 launched to pretty great reviews, and then Xenoblade Chronicles 3 released in 2022, with many hailing it as possibly the best in the series. So it would make sense that, even though this is a side title, that this one get ported too, and then that way, like, the entire series would be playable on Switch. I think this could really help to fill that lengthy JRPG craving fans might have after finishing up Paper Mario: The Thousand Year Door. Xenoblade Chronicles X is certainly a different feel from the other 3 games, It does have a similar battle system and atmosphere at times, but as a whole, it offers a much different experience than the Switch entries. And on top of this, I'm fairly confident that the vast majority of Xenoblade fans haven't even played this one with it being stranded on the Wii U. So Nintendo could probably treat this almost like a brand new game release, which is kind of what they've been doing with the last few remasters and remakes that we've gotten. I don't know, I think it's finally time that this port happens, and I would imagine an August release window for this. Pokemon Legends ZA is the follow-up to 2022's Pokemon Legends Arceus, and it's one of the only remaining Nintendo games that we know of that we're awaiting more information on. Other than Metroid Prime 4, but I really hope you're not holding your breath for info on that one, because if you were, I mean, you're definitely not with us at this point. Pokemon Legends ZA was announced in a really vague reveal trailer. Legends Arceus gave players sprawling landscapes and beautiful vistas to explore in their pursuit to catch them all. ZA looks to do the opposite, maybe taking place in a major city. Again, it's really hard to say without seeing any gameplay, but I'm fairly confident we'll at least see something on this game in this presentation. I do think this will launch on the Switch, and I would imagine a February release date for Pokemon Legends ZA. Is it finally time that we get the game that we've been talking about for 7 years? 7 years! Sorry, no, I'm not talking about Metroid Prime 4. I'm talking about The Legend of Zelda The Wind Waker HD and The Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess HD on the Switch. These two games seemed like such a lock for the entirety of the Nintendo Switch's lifecycle, and they just never came. I find it really hard to believe that these ports aren't like done somewhere in the Nintendo vault and just waiting for the right time to release. Getting these two absolute landmark Zelda games, and two of my top 5 favorite Zelda games of all time, might I add, finally brought to the Switch would make it by far the best console ever for Zelda. You have the new massive series-defining entries in Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom. You have a gorgeous HD remaster of Skyward Sword, without waggle controls too. The incredible from-the-ground-up remake of Link's Awakening with that amazing plastic toy art style. In addition to Ocarina of Time, Majora's Mask, The Minish Cap, and both Oracle games all being accessible via the Nintendo Switch Online service. Adding both of these incredible HD Zelda games to what is already an almost unbelievable lineup of Zelda games on the Switch already, and to be able to pick up and play them anywhere you go would be an absolute dream come true. I truly believe we will get these on the Switch. But I'm going to go a little outside the box on this one. Based on a few of Nintendo's recent releases and the few 3DS ports that we've received, I just can't shake this feeling that if a Zelda HD port or remake is to be announced, that it's going to be for A Link Between Worlds on the 3DS. Now, this is one of my all-time favorite Zelda games, and I think it would look insanely beautiful with a simple remaster like Luigi's Mansion Dark Moon is getting. And there wouldn't be any compromise with losing the touchscreen because, I mean, that was pretty much relegated to just being a map anyway. Call me crazy, but I think The Legend of Zelda A Link Between Worlds HD will launch sometime in October of 2024. It could very well easily be Twilight Princess HD and Wind Waker HD, but I just can't shake this feeling. Now, I've kind of teased this several times throughout this video, but maybe, just maybe, we'll finally get that first glimpse of gameplay from Metroid Prime 4. Now, I do view this as a potential Nintendo Switch 2 launch title, but after showing us a logo in the very first year of the Nintendo Switch and hearing essentially nothing else since then, you have to assume the game is pretty close to ready at this point. Now, I do know that they did scratch development and started back up again in 2019, but again, that's 5 additional years. Nintendo did spoil Metroid fans on the Switch in the meantime, though, with both Metroid Prime Remastered and Metroid Dread, both of which were fantastic releases. But Metroid Prime 4 is what Metroid fans really want. And I have this theory. that they're going to show gameplay or cinematic footage, and it's going to look a little too good for what the Nintendo Switch is capable of. They're not going to make any reference to it, but I think it could be our very first unofficial glimpse at what the Nintendo Switch 2 can do. I'm personally hoping for a March or April launch of the Nintendo Switch's successor, so I would view this being a launch title and dual releasing for both Switch and Switch 2 in March or April of 2025. If you take a look at the Kirby series, there's only been a handful of years in the series' storied history where we don't get an annual release. Kind of piggybacking off of my Link Between Worlds theory, I can totally see Nintendo once again digging into the 3DS's incredible game library for another easy remaster to fill out the Switch's remaining months. That game, I believe to be Kirby Planet Robobot. This is an incredible Kirby game, as pretty much every release is. This one is built very much off of the gameplay of Kirby Triple Deluxe, which already feels like an extension of Kirby's Return to Dreamland. So you have all of your typical Kirby fare, sucking up enemies, collecting medals, eating food, etc. But being Planet Robobot though, Kirby now has access to Robobot armor, which is like this little mech that Kirby can pilot that can help him destroy obstacles, lift and defeat enemies, and help him get those out of reach collectibles. The fun part is that in addition to Kirby's copy abilities, you're actually able to augment the mech to have similar abilities, which will also change its appearance. This is just another great entry in the Kirby series, and one I think would look especially beautiful when upscaled on the Switch. I could see this one releasing after the holidays, kicking off our 2025 with a January release. Now to cap off what I think that they're going to reveal in this Nintendo Direct, I think they're finally going to give us those last few Nintendo Switch Online titles. The lineup is already pretty great. As I mentioned earlier, you have all the Zelda games, you have Banjo-Kazooie, Mario 64, you have all of the Mario parties. I think what would really put the cherry on top of the Nintendo Switch's online library would be Diddy Kong Racing, Super Smash Bros. 64, and Donkey Kong 64. And if you really want to get crazy, Banjo-Tooie. These are kind of those last remaining titles that I think fans really would love to have. Diddy Kong Racing, again, one of my absolute all-time favorite games. Hot take, I like it way more than Mario Kart 64. Donkey Kong 64 is this incredible 3D collectathon that would keep people busy for hours and hours and hours. And who doesn't love to go old school, kick it back, and do some battles in Super Smash Bros. 64, where it all began? Other than that, I'm not sure what they could add to the service, but I think we're sure to see at least a last sprinkle of games added to the NSO. So there we have it. I didn't want to get too out of hand or crazy with these predictions. I would say temper your expectations. I don't expect this presentation to be like mind-blowing or anything. Again, I think a lot of it is just going to be filler to get us through the year and into 2025 before the inevitable launch of the Switch successor. Again, it's a little weird. Normally, I'm used to kind of theorizing in the middle of a console's life cycle, but this is at the very tail end. So at this point, we've kind of already gotten a lot of what we could predict, and anything else that could be upcoming is probably being held for the next system. So this was actually a little bit of a challenge. Honestly, if these were going to be the last announcements for the Nintendo Switch, I'd be totally fine with that. You also have to assume there's going to be some indie goodness in there too to round things off. So again, other than being referenced by Nintendo's president, at this point in recording, the date of the Direct actually hasn't even been announced yet. So we'll still have some time to have some fun and speculate as to what Nintendo could have in store for us. But that's going to do it for me today, guys. What'd you think? Do you think we'll see any of what I talked about in Nintendo's Direct? If not, what do you think? Leave a comment below telling me what you think is the most realistic announcement we can expect from this Direct. Thank you guys so much again, as always, for watching. If you made it to this point in the video, I sincerely thank you for sticking around. If you did like it, please hit that thumbs up button and make sure you hit subscribe so that you're in the know for my future uploads. I don't expect to do a ton of this kind of hype and theory stuff, but it is a little fun to just get carried away and just imagine what the future of the Switch could be. So thank you guys again so much for watching. Be sure to come back after the Direct and tell me what I got wrong. I would love to hear that too. So thank you guys so much again, and be good. Bye-bye.